Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with Finding Yourself SATX Life Coaching. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you missed our flash sale last week, keep an eye on the lookout for spring break specials that'll be coming up soon. Check out my website. It's at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There in the shop section, you can find all of our electronic resources as well as the ability to book consultations. If we've never talked on Zoom or on a telephone call, then you can go ahead and book your first free consult. Even if you've bought all of the e-resources, if you and I have never chatted, I will always give you your first consult for free. So today we're going to continue trying to define what codependency is, talking about Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. I have books everywhere, so I'm trying to figure out where to grab. Looking from page 34 of Melody Beattie's book, she says, a codependent person is one who has let another person's behavior affect him or her and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. So definition is pretty easy, but trying to understand how that actually relates is a little bit harder. Last time we talked through Gerald's story, and today we'll go through Patty's story, and this is on page 19 of her book. Okay, Patty's story. Patty was in her mid-30s and had been married for 11 years when she sought help from a private therapist. She had 3 children, the youngest of whom had cerebral palsy. Patty had devoted her life to being a good wife and mother. She told her therapist she loved her children, didn't regret her decision to stay home and raise them, but hated her daily routine. Before her marriage, she had many friends and hobbies, worked as a nurse, and was interested in the world around her. However, in the years following the birth of her children, particularly her handicapped child, she had lost her enthusiasm for life. She had few friends, had gained over 80 pounds, didn't know what she was feeling, and if she did, felt guilty for feeling that way. She explained she had tried to stay active by helping her friends and doing volunteer work for various organizations, but her efforts usually resulted in feelings of ineffectiveness and resentment. She thought about returning to work, but she didn't because all I know is nursing, and I'm sick of taking care of people. My friends and family think I'm a tower of strength, good old dependable Patty, always there, always in control, always ready to help them. The truth is, Patty said, I'm falling apart, very quietly but very certainly. I've been depressed for years. I can't shake it. I cry at the drop of a hat. I don't have any energy. I scream at the kids all the time. I don't have any interest in sex, at least not with my husband. I feel guilty all the time about everything. I even feel guilty about coming to see you, she told the counselor. I should be able to solve my own problems. I should be able to just snap out of this. It's ridiculous to waste your time and my husband's money for my problems. Problems I'm probably imagining and blowing way out of proportion. But I had to do something, Patty confessed. Lately, I've been thinking about suicide. Of course, she added, I'd never actually kill myself. Too many people need me. Too many people depend on me. I'd be letting them down. But I'm worried and scared. The counselor learned Patty and her husband had children. The counselor learned Patty and her husband had children, the youngest with cerebral palsy. Patty also said before their marriage, her husband had problems with alcohol. During their marriage, he had less to drink, had held the same job, and had been a good provider. But upon questioning, Patty told the counselor her husband had not attended Alcoholics Anonymous meetings or any other support group. Instead, he went on the wagon for months between weekend drinking binges. When he drank, he acted crazy. When he wasn't drinking, he was angry and hostile. I don't know what's happened to him. He's not the man I married. What's even more frightening is I don't know what's happening to me or who I am, Patty said. It's difficult to explain exactly what the problem is. I don't understand it myself. There's no major problem I can point to and say, that's what's wrong. But it feels like I've lost myself. At times, I wonder if I'm going crazy. What's wrong with me? Patty asked. Maybe your husband is an alcoholic, and your problems are caused by the family disease of alcoholism, the counselor suggested. How could that be? Patty asked. My husband doesn't drink that often. The counselor dug into Patty's background. Patty talked with fondness about her parents and her 2 adult brothers. She came from a good family that was close and successful. The counselor dug deeper. Patty mentioned her father had attended Alcoholics Anonymous since she was a teenager. Dad sobered up when I was in high school, she said. I really love him and I'm proud of him, but his drinking years were some pretty crazy years for our family. Not only was Patty married to someone who was probably an alcoholic, she is what is now called an adult child of an alcoholic. The entire family had been affected by the disease of alcoholism. Her dad stopped drinking, her mother went to Al-Anon, family life improved. But Patty, too, had been affected. Was she expected to magically overcome the ways she had been affected just because the drinking stopped? Instead of additional counseling sessions, Patty's counselor referred Patty to a self-esteem course and an assertiveness class. The counselor also recommended Patty attend Al-Anon meetings or Adult Children of Alcoholics meetings, which are self-help groups based on the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Patty followed the counselor's advice. She didn't find an overnight cure, but as the months passed, she found herself making decisions with greater ease, feeling and expressing her feelings, saying what she thought, paying attention to her needs, and feeling less guilty. She became more tolerant of herself and her daily routine. Gradually, her depression lifted. She cried less and laughed more. Her energy and enthusiasm for life returned. Incidentally, with no prodding from Patty, her husband joined Alcoholics Anonymous. He became less hostile and their marriage began to improve. The point here is Patty gained control of her life. Her life started working. Now, if you ask Patty what her problem is or was, she will answer, I'm codependent. So in Patty's case, even though her husband didn't drink all the time, they had a lot of insecurity in their family because when he would go on a binge, he would act crazy. And he may have been depressed too, right? Dealing with having to be a caregiver or having to be a provider. So there's legitimate reasons why people turn to substance abuse problems. And the crux of it at the end of the day is they're running away from their feelings. So there's drinking that's like on the weekend to relax, etc. But when it gets to the point where somebody's drinking is affecting you or affecting themselves actually, that's where they may be an alcoholic, or if their substance abuse issues are affecting their lives, they may have substance abuse issues, right? In Patty's case, that insecurity brought about by her husband when he would go on binges, and also the feeling that she maybe wasn't getting help at home and just having the world on her shoulders was why she was feeling totally depressed. And if you notice, she did talk to a professional. And so while I'm a life coach and I can help you with goals and reaching your goals, I am not a licensed therapist. And the two roles are very important and very different. So talking to a counselor or a therapist can help you understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Also, if you don't feel your feelings, it's always going to come out some way or another. So it's either going to come out with drug use, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. You eat your feelings. Some people smoke their feelings. Anything but feel them, right? You run away from your feelings. But in Patty's case, it wasn't only her husband. It was also her father and the fact that she'd never really processed those emotions. It was just, that's the way Dad was before he got sober, but never really stopping to think how that affected her. So if we look back at Dr. Gibson's works and growing up with somebody who's emotionally immature, the alcoholic cannot typically, I mean, at least while they're using, is not going to be an emotionally mature person, right? When you're drunk, your inhibitions are totally gone. You're going to say whatever's in your mind. You're not going to be, some people are loving drunks, but most people are not going to be loving, caring, able to respond in an emotionally intelligent way to their children. They're probably going to be more short-tempered, and it's that whole thing of having to walk on eggshells around a family member, which is probably how she grew up. And so she became somebody who takes more upon herself than she should, and in her own life probably didn't share burdens equally with her husband or other people that maybe she could have shared with, and instead just took on too much and was very depressed. So that's codependency, when other people's problems affect your life in a negative way, and when you stop living your life basically in order to take care of them. And in her case, right, it's not only her alcoholic husband and her father, but also their child. And the child can't do anything about that, right? That's just how they were born. And as the child's mother, it's her responsibility. But the self-care piece is what's so important there, right? When you're faced with being a caregiver, whether that's a child or an elderly parent, you can't really do much about it, right? Family obligations and love, but you need to make sure that you have enough self-care to balance out the caregiving. You need respite. That's one of the things. I was a caregiver for many, many years, and you need a little bit of time away to recuperate, and you'll feel guilt, right? You'll feel guilt when you take that time away, but you need it so that you can come back and be a better caregiver. So the next couple sessions we will, sorry, just looking up over here. Okay, so next time we will talk through Randall and Marlis's stories, and then Alyssa's story, and then Cheryl's story. And then you'll get lots of different perspectives of who all of these different codependents are, before jumping into some more ideas of what to do, right? Now you've discovered you're codependent. Maybe you know somebody who's codependent. So what do you do about it? I think that's always really important whenever we're reading any of these self-help books. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope if these videos provide value to you, I hope you do like and subscribe. It really does help us little YouTubers. Check out my website. I'm at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. And there, if you haven't yet started the guided life balance questionnaires, you can begin your journey for only $19.99 on any of the 7 different questionnaires. If we haven't talked before, you can purchase your free consult, purchase in quotes, or just contact me through my email on my website. It's all listed there. My contact information's there. Happy to be with you guys, and look forward to talking with you more next week or later in the week. All right, y'all take care. Have a good one.